Welcome back to another Iron Faith Wrestling instructional. Today we're going to be going over the slide by. This is going to be an amazing, slick, crazy good, awesome technique that you guys should be adding to your belt buckle of techniques, all right? Let's first focus on some key concepts of the slide by before we get into specific details on the different types of slide bys. First thing I want to focus on is I want to build up pressure with my opponent. So we're here, we got collar ties, my hands draped over the top. So what I want to do is I want to create pressure. How I create pressure is I take some thumb blocks and I push into my opponent, okay? When I feel them pushing back, I know it's a perfect opportunity to hit my slide by. Another thing I'm looking for when I do my slide by is I want to make sure I get hip to hip. So for example, when I hit the slide by from the arm drape, I am going to take a big step in, matching lead legs. My head is going to go backwards, and I'm going to go hip to hip here. So I want my hip to smash into his hip. Another key detail as I'm doing this is I want to get his hands to touch the mat. So when I'm here building up pressure, take a big step in to match lead legs. My head goes backwards, kind of like straightening my body backwards. A little bit of a weird feeling, but if you just try to kind of turn, it won't work. Your head needs to come back, and then I turn and go hip to hip, and I'm pulling his hands to the mat. So hip to hip as my hands pull him down to the mat. Think of it like a cartwheel motion. You know, you're here, we're building up pressure, then I'm going to like come up with my body and then go back down. So it's some of that kind of cartwheel motion like this. You're going there. I brought a special guest along for this instructional. My brother Mike was a high school All-American, and he used this technique a lot, especially if you guys are a bigger wrestler. You know, he wrestled 220. Yep. So this is a great technique. You're not hitting the floor. You're not hitting your knees, and you can score right from your feet. So my brother Mike's going to go into detail on how he hit this specific technique. Hopefully you guys can pick up on a few things.
I have a lefty collar tie, and your opponent has a lefty collar tie. Is going to be draping this right hand over, giving a little pressure. If I'm head to head with him, I want to extend here, get some space, build a little bit of pressure in by, stepping into him, giving him a little pressure back. This right hand drops down right to the elbow. I take a side step here, and I'm doing that exact same cartwheel motion and sliding it right on down. A couple ways I like to build up this pressure is kind of by annoying them with this, fist in their collarbone. So when I go collar tie, he goes collar tie. This right hand, I'm going to try and find his collarbone, line it up with the collarbone. It'll be kind of at this diagonal lane right here, and I'm going to dig my knuckles right in here and bring his head to my knuckles. A lot of times I'll dig it in here, he'll get angry, he'll push back, and I'm able to hit that exact same slide by. Another way is you can also force this slide by if they don't have a collar tie. So if I go collar tie and he goes inside tie on me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this elbow and just bring it right up to a collar tie. Then drape over, sidestep, do that exact same one. Another thing I like to mention with this is a lot of people think you need a ton of pressure to hit these slide bys, but because I'm grabbing the arm and kind of pulling it, I can use it with very little pressure. So if I'm just hand fighting aggressive, sometimes I can just get enough pressure here to pull it on by because I'm grabbing his arm in the inside right here. I'm grabbing it here, and I'm really holding a tight grip and pulling him down with it. Even just that, I was able to give him a little bit more pressure to follow him to the side. Also, you don't always need a collar tie, a strict collar tie on the neck to hit this move. You can also have his hand kind of on the shoulder. So if somebody knows you're hitting this and they're like, I'm not gonna, match that collar tie with you. So if I go collar tie here, he goes matching inside. I'm a circle. I can also just pull it up right to that shoulder. As long as it's on the shoulder and it's not really on my hand and it's not affected by my arm movement, I can drape back in here, sidestep, and hit that exact same slide by. With this collar tie or with this setup as well, there's pretty much two different things you're gonna hit. It's either a slide by or a snap down. So when I'm baiting this pressure, if I'm trying to get this pressure in, I can fake a snap down so he kind of tenses up, builds that pressure a little bit, so then I can really hit my slide by. So if I go boom, same side collar tie, build that pressure up, I go snap down. I try and go at the elbow a little bit here, not fully get the snap down, just to build that pressure up here. He steps in, go right to that elbow, drag it right on down. My main thing I'm gonna be trying to do is circle around his hips and drag him down. So I'm gonna try and bring him down here and hop my hips over. That's gonna be my first move. Even if, I go really aggressive here, I slide by, and my leg kind of gets caught right here, I'm gonna still try and bring him down and hop my leg around, because that's gonna be the easiest way to secure your two. Last thing I'm gonna go over, and then I'll have Evan take it over again, is gonna be what happens if I'm not able to get my leg around. I can just end it pretty much in a Merkle positioning here. So I hit this, slide by, build that pressure in, follow that collarbone, boom, slide by, and if my leg gets caught right here, as you guys can see, I can't pull him down. He's trying to hop hips over me. What I'm gonna do is just snake this leg with my right leg, keep this collar tie or this claw really tight, continue to build pressure down, and just end in this Merkle position right here.
I hope you enjoyed having my brother Mike show some techniques. Feel free to drop a comment below if you want to see him in future instructionals. I'm gonna go over a couple little things with this slide by from the arm drape, a couple different finishes, and then we're gonna move on to some different slide by techniques, okay? So we're here, we're matching collar ties. My hand goes over the top, knuckle in the collarbone, I'm pressuring in. All right, we match lead legs. I slide by, head goes back. I reach for the tricep right here, and I pull him by here. Now, another great way to finish this technique, because you have a claw, is a near leg lift. So once I'm here, I can reach my left arm deep around his near leg, bring my hips in, and I can essentially pull down on the shoulder and up on the leg and bring him towards his back, okay? It's a great way to get a, takedown right to back points. So I'm here, I come over the top, I pressure in. When I match lead legs, it can happen a little bit quicker than I'm showing it. So I could be here, I could just step and pull. All right, but he's circling away from me. My hand's transitioning from here to here, squat, hips come in, I lift, clear my feet out of the way. Trying to show it, but not also slam Ben on his neck or anything weird, all right? Show you guys one more time with this one. So maybe we're from this angle. Hand comes over the top. I pressure in. Big step, I switch lead legs. Step, head comes back. Pull him through, he's circling, I reach in, I pop my hips through, come right over, and come on top. Now another way we can finish this is an inside trip. So I'm here, I build some pressure, match lead legs, head comes back, I start turning my feet towards the same direction he is, I slide by. Now as I slide by, he starts facing me. All right, now I step my left leg in to my inside trip. My right hand keeps driving towards the mat, and I finish. Some details with the inside trip. I'll do an instructional on foot sweeps and trips later, but I want to face the same direction as him. So I have this claw. I want to stick my leg in between his legs, pivot it so the back of my knee joint wraps around his ankle, then drive him right over, okay? So we're here, my hand drapes over the top, I'm building some pressure up, I switch lead legs, head comes back, I slide by, he starts facing me, my left foot's gonna step in. And here's the thing with the inside trip, I wanna first be facing this way. So I wanna face into him here. That actually gives me room for my left leg to come through and then pivot backwards. So if I'm facing him directly, sometimes it's hard to get my foot in. So I actually like being almost almost slightly hip to hip. Then my left foot goes through, wraps. Look at the way it's wrapping. My knee is trying to wrap around the ankle. I like to drop my left hand also to the leg to secure this leg from stepping out. Then I drive him straight back towards his back. Don't want to spend too much time on the inside trip because that's not necessarily what this video is about. I'll show you guys another angle. All right, I pressure in, my match lead legs, head comes back, slide by, he faces here. All right, my feet are turned opposite direction his feet are, so not the same direction, not pointing at him, but like, you know, we're creating an X. My left foot comes in and wraps around, and my knee points behind him in that direction. Wrap around, look at my feet, they're trying to put, my right foot is pushing straight back towards his butt. I'm driving him in towards that position. Next position we can slide by from, I call it looking at the watch. So I'm here, we both have collar ties. Here, okay. Now instead of coming over the top with my arm drape, my hand's gonna stay underneath. I still want this arm extended, so I may thumb block or push my knuckles into his collarbone to get this arm extended. But once it's extended, I look at my watch. Pretend there's a watch in my hand, look at it. Once I look at the watch, I'm going to do all the same motion. Match lead legs, head comes back. But here's what I'm gonna do with this arm. So instead of pulling underneath, I'm gonna punch it, his tricep with my forearm, the back of my forearm. Everything else the same though. I pop it up, hip to hip, pull down to the mat to get my takedown. Show you guys again. We're here, we're matching collar ties. I'll thumb block to get his arm extended. We're building some pressure up. Look at the watch. Look at the watch, match lead legs, head comes back to keep that arm straight. I'm popping him right in the tricep as my feet face the same direction as his feet this way, and I go hip to hip. Boom. All right. Show you guys again, one more time with this one. Here, extend the arm, look at the watch. Here, pull down. Okay, collect the 2 points. Next slide by is from an over tie. So my partner collar ties me. I'm gonna go to an over tie position. My partner collar ties me. My hand is gonna go over, grab the ear or the headgear, and I'm gonna pull him to this position here. Now, when I hit this slide by, okay, the right hand or the free hand, in this case it's my right hand, is very important. I want to have a V with my hand and I wanna post it above his elbow. If it's below his elbow at his forearm, he can pull his elbow to his side and slip it off, okay? So I'm here, arm is straight, I have my over tie. This free hand goes right above the elbow. Gets caught on that elbow joint and make sure the arm doesn't slip. Now I match lead legs, head comes back, pivot hip to hip, and just pull this left hand and right hand, both hands to the mat. Pull him down, boom. Over tie, grab the ear, pull it to his bicep. Okay, I build some pressure up with a thumb block if I have to. Match lead legs, as this hand creates a V, palm facing my opponent. As I hit the slide by, palm face opponent here, match lead legs, head comes back, hip to hip, pull the hands to the mat. All right, show you a little bit quicker with it. Collar ties me. I'm over here, building up some pressure. And you'll see when I match lead legs in a more realistic situation, I kind of shuffle. So I'm here, it's like that. Wrestling here. If I'm on this side, I'll shuffle like that. But if I have to switch my lead legs, it's boom. It's boom, bang, pull it down. Now if he had a collar tie, my right leg's already forwards on this side, all I'm gonna do, I don't have to match lead legs, I just need to make sure whatever side I'm sliding by, that leg's forward. So if I'm in this case, pull his head to here, hand's gonna come here, I'm gonna go and shuffle. So my right leg's forward, I don't need to switch legs right now, I need to shuffle. Shuffle to get a little bit of an angle on my opponent. So I build some pressure up, maybe with a thumb block, shuffle as my left hand drops to here, and I pull down. Now, with this slide by, most of the time you're just going to catch around the waist and get the 2 points, but a lot of times it's going to set some other shots up. I show my wrestlers to do slide bys into leg attacks. So here's what I'll do a lot of times. I guess we'll go this leg. I go for my slide by with my over tie. All right, I slide by, but they circle out of it. As they circle out, I like to drop right into that single leg. So I'm sliding by, the right hand that's on the tricep goes to a knee pull single. So he collar ties me, over tie, build some pressure with a thumb block. All right, match lead legs, hit the slide by, he starts facing. Now look, this right hand goes to the knee, right behind the knee. Left hand drops off the head, and I go to a knee pull single. Right to here, up to my feet, little trip behind, control on top. Show you guys that one again. It's a little slide by to a single leg. We're here, over tie, build some pressure with a thumb block, match lead legs, slide it by, he faces, right hand drops behind the knee, left hand wraps around, head up into his armpit, head up high, drive up and in, get the leg out, little trip, control for the 2 points. One thing to note with this specific slide by is it can happen all at once. So if he has a collar tie on me, I can do this tie up all at once. So if I'm wrestling here and I match lead legs, it doesn't have to be 1, 2, slide by. It can be, we're wrestling here, I can have my hands come here all at once and kind of pull them right by, which is kind of unique. So normally you have to have kind of like at least one grip established, but in this case you don't. We're here, maybe I'm wrestling here, I built some pressure up, and I just do it all at once. Hands jump to here as I slide by. Collect around the waist, kind of slapping the back of the head almost and pulling them right down to the mat. That's kind of a unique one with this over tie position. Another thing I want to point out is it works really well when your opponent goes for like an ankle pick or, or a knee pick or something like that. So if my opponent has a collar tie on me, if I have an over tie and he starts going for an ankle pick here, he's pressuring into you and leaving a collar tie on. So he has a collar tie and he's going for a shot. That's going to be a lot of pressure towards the mat. So he's already going downwards towards the mat. He's already pushing into you. So it's a perfect opportunity to hit a slide by when your opponent has a collar tie and is going for a shot. This works with the arm drape as well. If your opponent has a collar tie and is going for a leg attack, he's putting himself in a very vulnerable position. That's why when we talk about the ankle pick video, it's important to pull my head down so that I can't hit these slide bys. But if he just reaches for my ankle here, perfect opportunity to slide by. So whether you're doing the arm drape or an over tie slide by, wait for your opponent to hit an ankle pick. Wait for your opponent to hit a knee pick with that collar tie, and they're going to expose themselves, okay? One other technique I want to show with this slide by from the over tie position is a foot sweep. So if I have this over tie, I go, I build some pressure, match lead legs, hand post to here, head comes back, I start pivoting. He's going to start facing me. As he starts to face me, I can hit a foot sweep on this leg. Now, what I'm looking for is I'm looking to catch the foot and in transition. So as he's lifting weight off of his foot, that's when I'm looking to sweep it and pull weight over that foot I have just sweeped. So, we'll get to this position here. I just slid him by. I'm here. I have the collar tie. I have his arm. As he's stepping, that's when I would hit it. So go back a little bit. So I'm trying to circle hip to hip. As that foot steps up, I'm catching it with my left foot, and I'm pulling weight over top of the leg I just took away. And that hip-to-hip motion, the motion of me trying to get behind him, will cause him to circle really hard. So if you keep drilling this, you'll get the timing of it, that right when you slide by, he circles, you sweep, okay? Show you guys this a couple times because it's a tough move. I like to give you guys a couple different angles to break it down, okay? So I go to slide by here, boom. I slide by. Now, I know this foot's going to be stepping forwards. As it steps forward, I catch it. Come back. All right, a couple different angles of this. I'm here, over tie. I go and slide by, boom. And then as he's stepping forwards, I catch it and come back there. Now, almost circle and face me a little bit. So if I come here, circle like that's really what happens more often even. So they'll circle and face you more. So they're trying to get to this position. And then I'll come more to the side here. Okay? Sorry if I kicked your ankle or anything like that. Too hard. So that again. So because I still want to catch it in transition, but I'm less going to be behind him. I'm more going to be on the side of him. Because I'll slide by here, he'll circle, boom. Okay? And you can wait a couple shuffles too. You don't have to hit it right away. But, you're sliding by, he goes to face. You can work that foot sweep off of your slide bys. The last tie up we're going to go into is a elbow control tie. So my opponent has a collar tie on me or inside tie, either one. I'm going to control, we'll do it on this side. I'm going to control the tricep, so right above the elbow, and I'm going to go opposite collar tie, all right? Now, what I want to do is I want to pull this arm in and pull it up to a collar tie position. From here, everything's the same. I want to build up some pressure, okay? When I decide to go, I want to shuffle hip to hip. My head's going to come back, and I'm going to pass this off. So I'm going to build up some pressure, shuffle hip to hip. My head's going to come back as I pass this off, okay? And I can go right back to this position here. It's very similar. You're going to end up in the same position as the arm drape if you have that collar tie. Show you guys this a couple times. I'm here, collar tie. I grab elbow control, and I'm going to pull it up to my collar tie. Build some pressure. I'm going to shuffle hip to hip as my head comes back, and I'm going to pull him right by. Collect the hips. All these finishes like we did earlier, lift from here, inside trip, dropping to a single leg, all that stuff still applies. Now, another way you can kind of finish this is going right to, it's called a uchimata, or a leg reap, all right? My opponent collar ties me, or even goes inside tie, doesn't matter. I'm going to grab the tricep. I'm going to pull him up to a collar tie, build up some pressure. Now I'm going to shuffle hip to hip. This time, my right foot's going to step more in the middle of his legs because I'm going to be looking for my uchimata. So I'm here, shuffle here. I pass it by. Now watch my footwork. I shuffle in and reap up to finish that technique. Definitely not a common move, but if you have a judo background or you feel comfortable with throws, definitely a nice one to add. Collar tie, I'm going to go elbow control, pull him up to collar tie. I build some pressure up. I'm going to shuffle hip to hip, but I'm going to shuffle my feet more in the middle. So I'm going to shuffle in the middle. Instead of trying to go around him, I'm going to be trying to throw him. Head comes back, pass it by. Now I'm going to step my back foot in a little bit, and my right foot is going to go straight, and it's going to reap right between his legs until he goes over. This is kind of the motion here. We're here, shuffle in, head comes back, feet are facing the same direction, passing it off, and right leg is just kicking straight up as I try to throw and cover the waist. Show you guys this. Another angle, he collar ties me here, collar tie here. I'm pulling this tricep in. I build some pressure up. I'm going to shuffle hip to hip. Head comes back as I pull on my tricep and pull the arm off my head. I'm going to shuffle my back foot in as needed, and my right leg sweeps up right in the middle of his legs as my head goes down to the mat just like that. So that's all I got on slide bys. Whatever you guys want to see next, just drop it in the comment below. If I missed anything, let me know, and look forward to seeing you guys in the next instructional.